All right, so I'm gonna go through a couple tools that are going to be helpful for combining shapes. And I talked about the Pathfinder tool and the compound path tool. So with some of these tools, and I'm going to create a new document first here. So with some of these tools to combine shapes, you have to, have a couple shapes created, and then you can use the Pathfinder tool. If I have two shapes here, I can unite. So unite's going to combine. And let me go through these and just kind of duplicate these. So I'm just option dragging. So with the Pathfinder, we have the ability to take a combination of shapes and make them one shape. You can select two shapes and take away the front shape. So you're cutting into a shape. Let me add some more shapes here. You can get the intersection. So the third tool here is intersect. You can get everything but the intersection. So this is the outside shapes. If I fill this, you'll see that it's just the non-overlapping parts. And then there's a couple interesting pathfinders here where this will divide the first icon and the second row will divide your shape into pieces. And to select the pieces, you have to use the direct selection tool. So I can take pieces apart. And the next one is similar, it trims. So it's kind of like minus front, but it keeps the front shape instead of deleting it. And then I have to add a stroke back here so you can see what happened. So now if I hit A for direct select and I move, select one and move it away, it basically cut away, but kept the original shape that was the one that was cutting away from the other shape. And here I'm drawing two more circles. So this next one, merge, is basically the same as unite. So it's combining, it's just getting rid of the stroke. And then there's this crop. And what that does is actually take the overlapping part and it adds it to the shape that's cropping the other shape out. So you get something like that. And then outline is like divide. But it's keeping but it's just keeping all the original outlines. So it's kind of separating these lines out. So that's using the Pathfinder tool. So you can combine things. These are called Boolean operations, where you're combining, or you're getting the intersection, or you're taking away. But there is a series of tools in Illustrator that does a lot of this. And it does it in a way that's more intuitive. So those tools are called the Shaper tool and the Shape Builder tool. So these are great tools to use. So first I'll show you the Shaper tool. The Shaper tool is this circle. There looks like there's a little line there. And Shift N is the shortcut for that. And the way the Shaper tool works is you just draw a rough shape and it creates the perfect geometry based on how you drew the original rough outline. So if I draw like a rough triangle, it makes a triangle. If I draw a rough square, it makes a square. But there's another feature in this where you can combine or subtract pieces of artwork. If you overlap when you draw something, so I'm drawing a square on top of these other squares, then you get these slight outlines here. And the way this works with the Shaper tool is if you kind of scribble, you can combine. So if I scribble over a line, it combines it, so it's acting like the Pathfinder tool. If I scribble over a part and scribble into that part, it will cut away. So that's acting like minus front. And then if I just scribble inside an intersection, that's acting like the exclude. It's like an inverse intersection. So this is a quick way to combine shapes without having to use the Pathfinder tool. So this is a really nice tool. And then another tool that's really easy to use. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to draw another artboard. So this is another tip you should think about when you're working in Illustrator. If you need to keep on working on a design, use this Artboard tool. So it's Shift-O is the shortcut. It's under that little spray can. Click on that, and you can draw basically new pages in Illustrator. So the next tool I want to show you is called the Shape Builder tool. And it kind of works the same way as the Shaper tools. But what's nice about the Shape Builder tool is that it also works with segments and lines as well. So you can cut things with a line. So say I draw a circle here, and then I'm going to use the line tool. So the line tool is right here, line segment tool. Backward slash is the shortcut for that. So if I draw a line through this, select both objects, and then go into this, what's called the Shape Builder tool. Shift M is the keyboard shortcut. I'm going to select this tool here. And the way that this works is when you hover over something, it will get highlighted, so you know it's working. If you just click once, and I'll click again on that other half, and then I'll go into my direct selection tool, hit A. Actually, there's another type of direct selection tool called the group selection tool. So there's no shortcut for that, but I'm going to use that. It's underneath this direct selection tool, so I'm going to use that. And then I can grab a piece of something, and now it's separated that object by using that line to separate it. So that's pretty cool. Another way to use this is here. I'm going to draw another shape. I'm going to draw it with the pen tool. So I'm just drawing maybe a shape here. So I want to connect all these pieces, let's say. So first you select them with the selection tool. So they have to be selected first. Hit Shift M to go into the Shape Builder tool. And then you just draw a line through these, and now they're all connected. So it's a really quick way to connect things to get some complex shapes really quickly. So you can combine all of these things together and use your other tools as well. So for example, let's say I want to make like a rabbit, let's say, really quickly. So I'll use my ellipse tool. Keyboard shortcut for the ellipse is L. So I'm going to draw out an ellipse. And let's say I want some features that are symmetrical. So I'll use my guides and rulers to help me. So Shift R is the keyboard shortcut for a ruler. And now I'm going to drag a ruler out. So you just drag, left click and drag, and you actually are dragging out a guide. So I have a guide here. And then I'm going to draw another ellipse. So this will be an ear. So I'll draw a narrow ellipse. And I'll make sure that it has a stroke so we can see it. And then I will position it. And then I'll use the rotate tool to rotate it. So I'll hit R, click a point, rotate this into position, hit V for my select tool, move it into position. And then I want to create some symmetry. So to create symmetry, what you can do is use the reflect tool. The reflect tool is located with the rotate tool, and the shortcut is O. So I'm going to hit O. Actually, first I'm going to select the ear. Then I'm going to hit O for the reflection tool. And then I'm going to click on a guide. And then I'm going to basically create a duplicate, but make it on the opposite side so that duplicate is symmetrical based on this guide. So to do that, I hit Option, Shift, and drag. And now I have a symmetrical ear there. Let's say I want the inside parts of the ear as well. So I'm going to click drag on one of those ears, Command C or Control C for copy. And then I'm going to paste an ear right on top. So the paste right on top, under Edit, you'll see this paste in front, but the shortcut is also Command or Control F. So now I have an ear pasted on top. And I'm going to drag down a little bit, and then Option drag inward. So that's the inner part of the ear. Maybe I'll drag the bottom up a little bit as well. And then I'm going to reflect this like I did with the bottom part of the ear. So I'm going to select that inner ear, hit O for reflect, go in the guide, and then Option, Shift, drag, and now I have an ear on the other side. So let's say I want to combine these now in a way that makes sense to create these ears for the rabbit. So again, I'll select all these pieces, hit Shift M, and then I'll Option, actually don't need the Option, I can just drag here, drag there. So it basically got rid of the bottom parts. Now I want to combine the outer ear with the main head. So I'm just going to drag slightly inside, drag slightly inside. Now I get this really quickly, this complex shape. And now let's say I want to do some eyes. So kind of the same way, hit L. I have a circle here. Let's say I want to do the inner eye. So I'm going to drag inside here. Let's say I want to do the type of the cartoony eye where there's like a slit in the eye. So I'll use the pen tool like this. And then I'm going to Shift select each piece, hit Shift M again, and I'll get rid of the bottom part first. So I'm going to Option drag, that got rid of the bottom. And then I'm going to Option click on the triangle part. Actually, I don't want to get rid of the outer part. So I'm just going to select the inner eye in the triangle, then hit Shift M, then Option drag in. Now I got my eye. Oops. And then I'm going to hit V for select the two parts of the eye. Just Option drag that over. And if I want to make a nose, I can just use the pen tool. This is a way to draw symmetrical shapes, though. I can use my guides. The other thing you have to have turned on is what's called Smart Guides. The command is Command U, or you can go into View and make sure Smart Guides is turned on. And the Snap to Point is turned on as well. And I accidentally turned on my grid, so I'm gonna hide that. So I'm gonna draw one half of a triangle. So when I'm on top of a guide, it will actually say guide and it will kind of snap to it. So I'm gonna click again, click on the guide again. So I have half of a nose, let's say. And then I'm going to select that, hit O for my reflection, click on the guide there, hit Shift and drag. So I got the other part of that triangle. And here I'm going to turn off my guide. So to turn off a guide, you can hit Command or Control semicolon. And then I'm going to hit A, kind of drag where they touch. Hit Command J to join. And drag the 2 points that touch down below as well. Command J to join. And now it's one piece. And then I will draw a circle here. That's going to be like part of the nose. Bring my guide back, Command semicolon. Hit O for the reflection. Click on the guide again. Shift Option drag. Hit V, and then I'm going to select each piece. And then again, go into this direct, shape builder tool here, hit Shift M, and then Option click, drag in, and there's my nose. If I want to do some eyebrows, I can overlap two circles and quickly use that shaper tool. So hit L, drag out a circle, drag out another circle, hit V so I can select them both, hit Shift M, and then Option drag, and now I got just that top of that eyebrow there, and I'm going to scale it down. So I'm just going to grab a corner, and then I'll create some symmetry again by clicking O, clicking on the guide, and Option Shift dragging, and then I have my other eyebrow. You know, the mouth can kind of work the same way as well. Drag that there. Let me think about this. So maybe I want to kind of make this a little interesting here. I like this big mouth idea. So I'm going to select both of these pieces. Hit Shift M, and then Option drag. Get rid of the sections that I don't want by just dragging on top of them. I just gotta and if I want to combine, I gotta not hit Option drag. Oops, and I lost the mouth. oops, and I think here I'm just going to hit A and just kind of delete those end pieces. And then let's say I want some teeth, so I'm just going to use the pen tool here. I'll make it a little menacing. So I'm going to select one half of these teeth that I drew with the pen tool, hit L for reflect. I'm busy. And then I'm going to select the teeth. And then hit L. I don't think those teeth are selected. Okay, hit L, option. Oops, hitting the wrong key. Hit O. Option drag. And then I'm going to select the line below, my teeth, hit Shift M, use option drag, and kind of cut out those pieces that I don't need. I think on this side I have to just reselect. You know, sometimes if it doesn't work exactly how you want it, you can always hit A for your direct selection tool and just delete the segments. So a little kind of menacing looking rabbit head. So that's using a combination of tools. And here I'm using the shape builder tool. I'm also using reflection. So the shortcut is O for symmetry. And I am using copy and paste in front as well to get some of those pieces on top of each other. So when you're working on, let's say, your faces, here, you can really have a lot of fun by just adding shapes and using these different tools. So if you want to create quick variations, I'm going to, let's say, experiment a little bit and use this spiral, kind of drag that out. And maybe drag it. So this is a spiral tool. Actually, I'm going to redo that. So the spiral tool, if you drag it out and you hit Command, you can create tighter spirals. And you can use your arrow keys to wind that spiral. So that's kind of nice. So I have that really tight spiral. And then I'm going to select all these vector lines, hit Shift M, and then Option drag. Actually, I'm just going to normal drag. So I'm just going to combine these pieces. So it gives you some opportunity to create some really interesting shapes. By adding that spiral in there, that's kind of interesting. But you can add all sorts of shapes and just quickly use the shape builder tool to combine things together or to cut into things. And sometimes it's kind of interesting to cut into your shapes as well. So Shift M for the shape builder tool, and then Option, oops, I cut in too much. So yeah, I'm just cutting into different tools here. Yes. Cool. So anyways, the shaper tool is a great tool, and the shape builder tool. You can use them in combination. So I lost what I was doing. Let me see something here. I don't know what I did, but I got the document. Did something to that document. I lost it. So again, I'll show you this real quickly. So let's say I want to add a spiral, come in here. We'll make it less detailed, the spiral. So I'm using this spiral shape, and I'm hitting Command. I'm going to drag that over, and then select everything, hit Shift down. Just combining pieces here. For some segments that are hard to get rid of, you can actually use the shaper tool. So Shift N, and then scribble over them. That's a quick way to get rid of segments. And then you might have to zoom in too to get rid of things. But yeah, just adding shapes and combining things in different ways. And that's really what this exercise and creating these faces are, is kind of exploring variation and seeing if you can reduce one of your self-portraits into something very simple so it can be used in different ways. yeah, whenever I have a segment that won't disappear that won't erase with the shape builder tool, I switch over to the shaper tool to get rid of it. So yeah, those are some tools that you can again use for this project for creating your icon version of yourself.